So there's going to be some rattling noises throughout this, most likely. Like that. Don't worry about the rattling noises. So, the lead love interest of Skyrim Romance Mod, Bishop, is an unrepentant misogynist and an emotionally and sexually abusive piece of shit. And we're supposed to love it. As I said in previous videos, I will mostly ignore the context of Neverwinter Nights 2, the character from that he's plagiarized from.
Something you need? I heard you stomping your way through the overgrowth like a swamp boar.
Because it's not super relevant to the content of the mod itself. The main thing of note is that in Neverwinter Nights 2, he is a pretty antagonistic character. Like, he's a companion, I think, but he's chaotic evil and goes against you, and is bad enough that the wiki describes him as a chauvinist pig.
I'm not paying you a single coin.
Oh, then you'll be paying me another way. My bedroll's a little cold at night. I'm thinking you can fix that.
And none of this has changed in the adaptation. It's just that the developer likely wished there was a romance option for aforementioned pig and decided to live out that dream in a Skyrim mod. So yeah, it bears repeating that, yes, most of the developers are women. That doesn't make the contents of this mod not misogynist or, like, really harmful. It being a sexual fantasy for women doesn't make it a progressive, feminist, sex-positive masterpiece. So no, I'm not going to go easy on it, especially given how, like, surprisingly fucked up it was. Bishop disrespects you. Bishop disrespects every other woman in the mod, aside from the floaty ethereal ones who help you progress in your love quest. He is constantly demeaning towards you, from beginning to end. It's in a pretty openly misogynist way too, like in his initial encounter being impressed that a woman is capable of walking through a cave to get to a dog.
I'm impressed. I didn't think a woman like you had it in ya.
Or him calling you a wench on multiple occasions.
But the man in you will want that wench in his bed, just as any red-blooded man would.
You know, referring to you as a silly little girl.
You silly girl, you have no idea how I feel, and I'd rather keep it that way. The less you know, the better. And I think you've taken leave of your senses. Too much lust and desire filling your pretty little head.
Even when he starts being nice to you, he's still a raging misogynist. Like, after you've married him and he's pretty much stopped being mean to you due to getting everything he wants without having to change, he's now all, oh, my nagging wife, haha, don't let my silly wife find out about this, she'll shout me to death and all that shit. Oh, there's also the little bit in there where, the son describes what can only be assumed is tag. Like, the game of tag. He's like, well, I'm trying to play with this girl and she keeps running away from me. But she wants to play. And Bishop's like, oh, well, women are funny creatures, son.
Women are funny creatures, son. Your mother may be better to talk to about this. She's familiar with that game.
He's talking about it's fucking tag. It's fucking tag. During your honeymoon, a female wolf shows up. He jokes about his wolf, Carnweir, like, losing his freedom too. Like, oh, I wouldn't hook him up with this weird female wolf who appeared. Don't want him to lose his freedom too. Get bogged down with the whole ball and chain. Like, fuck off.
And take his freedom away too?
There's plenty of lip service of him kind of talking about how strong and powerful and beautiful his girlfriend/wife is, in a way that lets you pretend that you are a strong female character, but it's just lip service. The mod constantly affirms that he's the one in charge, he's dominant, you're submissive. Like, it's really into that. You may be the shard of a dragon god of time in a mortal body, with, like, reality-bending powers, but it's kinda sexy how you're still his bitch.
So I'm drunk. What of it? You gonna tie me up and use me?
Oh, man after my own heart. Only it wouldn't be me getting tied up, would it, princess?
Of course, as the protagonist of Skyrim Romance Mod, you don't get the worst of his treatment. There are, I think, 4 total women that exist in this mod. 2 of them are floaty ethereal beings who I am 90% sure are not human, and they don't pose a threat to you, so they go pretty much ignored. The other 2 are treated with the most absolute spiteful behavior imaginable. And Nishka, the lusty tavern wench, who I've already gone over, is a cartoonish, slutty barmaid. He shuts down her flirtation hard.
I will slit your throat.
In real life, of course, he would be justified to do this, but this is not real life. This is a cartoonish, lusty tavern wench who exists only to represent a depraved, slutty femininity, and to get stomped on for it. The other one is Robin, who, by virtue of existing within several feet of a man, Bishop determines that she is his whore.
Oh, please try it. I'd love nothing better right now than to get rid of his whore.
And, you know, as an audience, we're not supposed to find this, like, disgusting or, like, even, you know, that rude. In fact, this encounter is, like, one of the last you have before the events spiral into the unending horror that is your marriage with Bishop. Okay, so this is where we start to get into the, like, abuse discussion. And it will pretty much be until the end of the video, so, like, viewer discretion advised here. Okay, the arc of the Skyrim Romance mod is this. You meet a horrible, nasty man who treats you like absolute shit, but he wants you sexually. You encounter other men who are generally nicer to you than him. Bishop challenges the man to some variant of a dick measuring contest, wherein they argue with you present and unable to say anything about what you want in a man. Bishop establishes himself as the alpha, and then doubles down on his attempts to claim you. He usually explains to you why you're wrong if you're interested in the significantly more likable suitor, how you don't know what you're getting into, how this other guy is definitely just trying to use you, probably for sex, and that's horrible of him. Unlike Bishop, who is just trying to use you for sex. His jealousy then triggers a romance advancement scene, which mostly involves him fucking you.
Do you feel it? Do you see it? This bloody desire that burns me inside out is driving me crazy.
The dialogue in this mod is so fucking bad. Anyway, rinse and repeat until late in the mod, where an additional element is thrown in. He begins to try to isolate you. So after the encounter with Kale, who is by far the kindest man of the bunch, he tells you how stupid you are for falling for him.
Well then, if you're so smart, what do you think he wants? To lure you in. Clearly you're blinded with infatuation. No, you don't.
After this point, this is when Bishop realizes that his possession of you is very directly threatened. He asks to run away with you, which is a very weird scene because it kind of implies that there's been like a lot going on and that there's just so much craziness, and he makes a point of saying how no one else in the world is good enough for you or him, and how you should just leave everything behind to escape all this. So I'm going to go through that whole scene pretty much uncut because I didn't showcase all of it since it was, like, alarming. But there's a lot going on there.
Do you ever listen to anything I say? Doesn't what I think mean something? Or do you just think of me as a shield for you to hide behind?
So he starts out by guilt-tripping you and implying that he's sacrificed so much for you, and you can slap him, which is a really shitty thing to do that this mod just presumes is normal because you're a weak little girl.
Don't try that again. Dragon Soul or not, I'll tie you down if I have to.
That line made me
listen
gag.
to me for once, will you? I am oblivion you're stubborn. Look, I'm trying to talk to you. Why do you insist on staying here? Give me one good reason.
You can literally never give him a reason.
Why I should let you keep putting yourself in danger for other people who don't care about you. Did you even stop to think about what all this might mean to me?
That's what gets me. The, like, did you think of what this means to me? With his little voice wavering, like,
why?
Oh my fucking God.
Can't you realize this stubbornness of yours could
Sorry,
kill
my mantises are trying to get each other through their two opposing cups, and it's so cute. It's actually not cute. They're trying to, like, kill each other, but, okay, guys. Sorry, I'm moving you.
Pleasant things to do than go on suicide missions. Let me give you a reason to live.
Implying that you haven't had any before.
If anything, think of it as a reason to stay with me next time you want to go chasing after who knows what.
I think this is referring to the other men.
I'm the least likely option to get you killed. If I were you, I'd choose the obvious, which is to run away with me. I can protect you.
implying that you
lie.
need protection for some reason, even though this game acknowledges you as the
Would've.
very powerful
You've known me well
Dragonborn.
enough by now, you never will. Nothing worth having is easily gained. We belong together, can't you see that? No one else in this world will ever be good enough for either of us.
That's
You're
creepy.
mine, and I'll be damned if I'm about to give you up.
And that is the creepiest thing he says possibly in the entire mod.
You know, I'm not as bad as you think. Being my woman does have its perks. You'll never get lost, never feel afraid or alone, and I'll always keep you warm at night.
So there's the keep you warm thing again. Like, I swear to God, that is his only positive attribute. The fact that he's a mammal and he's endothermic and produces his own body heat, and therefore he's warm.
One night, where you're just a woman with her man. Let me show you what it means to be mine. No regrets, no conditions. It'll be worth it.
Sorry, I was talking over
I
this
promise you.
creepy fucking line. So intentionally or not, this scene is him guilt-tripping you, talking about how he's the only one good enough for you, and why don't you ever think of all he does for you. And the end goal of this, of course, is for you to fuck him. I'm sure the intention isn't that, but that's what it is. You are being manipulated and guilted into having sex with the guy. So this is where the mod kinda stopped being funny. This is just straight up abuse. He is 100% attempting to isolate your character from everyone else, cut out all routes of escape and all support networks to have you to himself. He wants you dependent on him. And what's also very significant to me is the sexual abuse and coercion in this mod. You always can say no, and he will not force you into sex. There's no, like, scene where you are raped. But he does coerce you. Notably, there is a sexual encounter that happened like 5 times for me, where your character is literally railroaded into saying variants of no, so you can have this scene where he persuades you otherwise. Like, there's literally no dialogues where you're like, sure, I would like to do this. It occurs late in the mod, and for some reason, it happens because your character wants him so badly, but is worried that he'll leave her once he's had his way with her. Like, you will have almost definitely fucked a bunch of times at this point. The devs are incompetent. But anyways, a scene of coercion is mandated by the structure of the mod, and it is written to be romantic.
I want you in my bed right now. There will be no regrets and no meaningless words. I can't keep it under control anymore. I want you. To oblivion with you, woman! You make me crazy! I want you now! Afraid I would just disappear after I've conquered you, Princess. Do you really have that I won't leave your side, sweetness. Of that, you have my word. So, what will it be? Yes or no?
The purpose is, of course, the player can have their heart throb at how Bishop assures you that, no, I won't leave you after I claim you. Please, can I fuck you now? But it is without question. It is fucking straight up coercion. Coercive sex isn't consensual. A yes doesn't mean anything if it was persuaded or guilted, or is not, like, something you're enthusiastic about. A partner who sees you, has to talk you into it, should be then like, oh, I don't think they're fully into it. I will not do that. We should talk more about our boundaries and what we want in this relationship so that we can have a healthy sexual relationship. Like, in a situation like that, in the real world, if you're expressing fears that your partner is going to leave you after you fuck them, or whatever like that, that's not good. Like, even if it's an unfounded fear, that's something that you and your partner should then be like, okay, we need to talk about this, because this is not, you should not be having to have these doubts. We should clear this up and, like, get on the same page with this so that our relationship can be healthy and can give each other what we want, or, you know, work things out. A good partner would see you do this, see your doubts like that, and be like, okay, I think we need to maybe talk instead. I'm not gonna bang you right now. I think we need to, like, go through this. That doesn't happen in this mod. And, you know, okay, yeah, it's a romance mod. It's supposed to be like wish fulfillment. You're not gonna have these deep cutting scenes where you really hash out the sexual boundaries of your relationship. But don't write this in to begin with, then. Don't create these scenarios. And even if that scene isn't coercion, like, you can probably make an argument for it. It wouldn't be a good argument. It doesn't matter. Like, with all that being said, consensual sex is not intrinsically healthy or without pitfalls. Like, there's still ways for it to be bad. Like, how much does your guess mean if it's for someone who you're scared will leave you once it happens? Like, if you're uncomfortable, it's even if your partner is the kindest, most well-intentioned person on earth and would never want to hurt you, and you say yes, but have doubts or you're having issues or discomforts, that's still not good for you. It's something you need to, like, talk about. It's not healthy, it's not good, it's not cute. It's far cuter and more appealing to, like, see a healthy relationship where people can communicate and, like, be comfortable and feel secure and safe and happy. There's some things I left out of the mod showcase for being, like, pretty horrible. Like, when you say no to him, he doesn't force it, because that would make this mod, like, too atrocious to bother with. But he gets very pissy about it and will argue with you, and then you get, like, this guilt-trippy little message about how much you've hurt him. There's this one moment out of the blue in a scene that's like a fun little encounter where he gives you some wild berries, where he's like, come on, you can trust me, and you're like, no! And he says something with the direct implication that he's, like, very trustworthy considering he hasn't sexually assaulted you in your sleep.
Oh, come on. You've been sleeping in my presence for weeks now. You're still alive, intact, not pregnant. Be a good girl and just do as I ask.
Also, that scene is of him, like, surprising me with berries, and it starts with saying,
Close your eyes and open your mouth.
Because this mod is written by people who have never experienced love in their lives. One thing I did leave in that's, like, kind of minor, but, like, just so indicative of this whole thing. Under the flirtation tab of dialogue, you can say, I'm angry to him, due to the developers, again, not knowing what love or flirtation is. He then responds by forcibly kissing you, like it literally says that, which takes you into one of those horrible, unskippable kissing cutscenes, which after, like, the, like, 45 seconds or so of that nightmare, he follows up with how cute you are when you're angry.
I do love kissing you when you're angry. Such spirit.
And that just sums it up. Like, in that one gesture, he simultaneously, like, does something that some would consider sexual assault, and at the very least is extremely disrespectful of your boundaries, while also reminding you that you are just a silly little girl that he can't take seriously. Like, yeah, it's absolutely not wrong if a woman dating a man wants him to take a more dominant role during sex, but it's also true that liking something sexually is not divorced from morality or from wider cultural standards or from bigotry. It's not impossible for users to use, like, dominance and submission frameworks to enact harm onto their partners that are technically consenting. It's not bad in of itself to like a dominant partner, but it's not impossible for this to have been shaped by a wider context of misogyny. On to slightly lighter notes. Outside of his sexual abusive behavior, Bishop is just that god-awful archetype of the shitty bad boy who will be cured by a woman's restorative touch. He's horrible to every woman around him, but you're special. You're the one who can heal him. And you're the only one he respects. Other women are threats. The wish fulfillment of this mod is partially about how you are the special one, and how he will treat all the others like shit because you are so special. All of his horrible behavior towards you is justified by the honeymoon phases in between them, where he'll be romantic towards you to make you dependent and unable to say no when he reverts back to cruelty. He never grows or changes. The climax of the story involves him reaffirming that he is better than everyone else, but maybe you are too. Not as much as him, though. He sure as hell never apologizes for his behavior. He just spontaneously starts getting nicer when the plot needs him to, which is when he has everything he wants. Like, I was expecting, like, standard issue, maybe kind of misogynist, but mostly just kind of cringy hetero shit. Like, it was very funny. I had a blast playing it for the most part. But I was very, very surprised by how low it goes. It just gets me, like, it is a competent arc of an abuser isolating his victim. The mod functions on that level completely, which is partially why I ended it the way it did. It can totally be read as that, and it's not fucking intentional.
Because I love you, you stupid woman!